The unexpected war snow fell like silent ash over the wreckage. Corporal Ryan Blake pulled himself from the half-buried escape pod, gasping at the freezing air. The pod had crash-landed on a barren ice world, coordinates unknown, comms dead, and his squad long gone. His only option now was survival. Alone. Ryan's breath came in heavy clouds. He wrapped his arms around himself, trembling. His standard-issue vest was no match for this alien cold. The storm howled like a beast, and the sun was already dipping behind jagged white mountains. He had to find shelter. Limping forward, his boots crunching through deep snow, he spotted a cave near a cliff. Inside, jagged icicles hung like teeth. But it was at least dry. He collapsed against a rock wall, too tired to care about anything else. That's when he heard movement. Something, or someone, was already inside. Ryan slowly turned his head, reaching for the tiny blade in his boot. Then he saw her, an alien. Female. Tall. Green skin, glowing faintly like moonlight. Her silver hair shimmered, long and tangled. She wore a torn thermal suit from a different faction, maybe enemy forces. Her wide, bright eyes stared at him cautiously. Her hands didn't reach for a weapon. They just clutched her dark sleeping bag tighter. Neither of them spoke for several seconds. The storm raged outside. In here, it was quiet, but not warm. He coughed and muttered. Didn't know someone else survived. She tilted her head. You're human. From the Terran fleet. Yeah. And you're not, Ryan replied, barely able to keep his teeth from chattering. You gonna kill me? The alien girl blinked slowly. No. That one word surprised him. She looked at him for a long moment. Then with a slow motion she unzipped the top of her sleeping bag, revealing glowing warmth inside. She didn't say anything, just patted the space beside her. Ryan blinked. You want me to? If you stay out there, you will freeze. You are already shaking. He hesitated. It felt like a trap, or maybe he was hallucinating. But his fingers were going numb. Logic didn't matter anymore, only survival. With stiff legs, he crawled toward her and slowly slid into the bag. The heat hit him instantly, like stepping into a hot bath after hours in the cold. His skin tingled from the sudden shift. She didn't speak. She just zipped the bag shut around them both. They were chest to chest. Her skin radiated warmth, almost unnaturally so. A heat not just from temperature, but from something deeper. A different biology. He looked into her glowing green eyes. Thanks, he whispered. The alien girl nodded, resting her head lightly against the side of the cave. Rest. The storm will last for hours. He couldn't believe this was happening. Hours ago, they might have shot each other on the battlefield. Now they were sharing a sleeping bag in a frozen hell, and he had no idea what would happen next. But one thing was certain. This war had just taken a strange, unexpected turn. The storm outside only grew worse. The wind howled like wild animals, shaking icicles loose from the cave entrance. Inside, Ryan lay stiff inside the sleeping bag, pressed closely against the alien girl who had just saved his life. Neither of them spoke for a while. He was still trying to believe this was real. Her skin was warm, much warmer than any human's. Not burning, but comforting, like heated stone in winter. It pulsed with faint green light glowing softly in the dark cave. Her breath was steady, calm, like this was nothing unusual for her. But for Ryan, everything about it felt strange. Why are you helping me? He finally whispered. The alien girl looked at him. Her face was close, only inches away. Because you would have died. That's not usually a concern between enemies, he muttered. She studied his face for a moment. Not everyone wants war. Ryan blinked. You're part of the enemy fleet. She nodded. I was, but I ran from them. That made him pause. You're a deserter? I was captured first, then escaped. Her voice was quiet. Now I just want to live. Ryan didn't know what to say. He'd seen so many of her kind fighting, killing his people. But here, right now, she didn't seem like a threat. She seemed lonely, tired, cold, like him, but kinder than he expected. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated. "It cannot be spoken in your language, but you may call me Lyra." "Lyra." He nodded. "I'm Ryan." She gave a small smile. "Ryan." For a while they listened to the storm together. The sleeping bag barely had enough space for one, but they both fit. Barely. Every time he moved, his arm or leg brushed against her soft, glowing skin. He tried not to stare, but Lyra was beautiful. Strangely, hauntingly beautiful. More than that, she didn't feel like an alien anymore. She felt real, human, in a way. "Are you always this warm?" he asked awkwardly, trying to make conversation. She nodded. "My species generates body heat to survive in cold planets. It is our natural defense." "Lucky you," Ryan chuckled. "We get frostbite." Lyra tilted her head. "Is that why you were shaking?" Your lips were blue. "Yeah," he said. "I probably had an hour left before I collapsed." She was silent for a few seconds, then she whispered, "I couldn't watch that happen." That simple sentence hit him harder than it should have. She had no reason to care. But she did. Their faces were close again, too close. He could see the tiny silver flecks in her green eyes and the slight shimmer of her lips. He swallowed hard and turned away. "I'll sleep, if that's okay," he mumbled. Lyra nodded. "Sleep. I'll keep watch." Ryan closed his eyes, unsure if he'd wake up. But in the warmth of her arms, he slowly drifted into sleep, and for the first time since crashing here, he didn't feel afraid. Ryan awoke to silence. The storm outside had passed, and a soft, bluish light now glowed at the mouth of the cave. His body was still wrapped in warmth. For a moment he forgot where he was, until he felt the soft rise and fall of someone breathing beside him. Lyra. She hadn't moved. She lay close, eyes closed, calm and peaceful. Her green skin still gave off a soft glow, and her silver hair was spread across the edge of the sleeping bag like silk. Ryan blinked slowly. He was still alive, not frozen, not dead, and not alone. Carefully, he shifted. Her eyes opened. "You slept long?" she said softly. "You kept watch all night?" he asked. She nodded. "Your body needed rest." Ryan pushed himself up slightly, careful not to bump her too much. "Thanks. I mean it." Lyra looked at him for a moment, then reached into her side pouch. She pulled out a small cube, dark metal with glowing lines. "What's that?" he asked. "My beacon," she said. "Damaged, but not fully dead. I was trying to fix it before the storm." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "Is that the locator?" "Could it call your people?" She shook her head. "No, it's not for them." He didn't understand. "Then who?" She paused. Her voice was barely a whisper. "My sister." Ryan leaned in. "You have family?" Lyra nodded slowly. "She was taken when our planet was attacked. We were separated. I think she's still alive, somewhere. I left the military to find her." Suddenly things made sense. She wasn't just hiding from the war. She had a mission, a personal one. Ryan stared at the beacon. "Can it still send a signal?" "Only once," Lyra said. "If we use it now, we lose the chance to use it later." Ryan thought for a moment. Then he asked, "Why tell me all this?" She looked into his eyes. "Because you didn't treat me like an enemy. And because I trust you." Ryan felt something shift in his chest. That word, trust, meant a lot in war, even more between species. He nodded. "You're not the only one with a secret," he said quietly. Lyra tilted her head. What do you mean? I wasn't just any soldier on that ship, Ryan confessed. I had orders. Special ones. Lyra's eyes narrowed. What kind? My team was sent to recover alien tech. Valuable tech. Anything that could change the balance of war. He looked ashamed. I wasn't looking for peace. I was hunting for power. But after the crash, none of that mattered anymore. Lyra studied his face carefully. Do you still care about that mission? Ryan shook his head. No. Now I just want to get off this frozen rock and maybe help someone who actually deserves it. For the first time, Lyra smiled, not a polite or guarded smile, a real one. You're different, she said. Ryan chuckled. You're not what I expected either. They sat quietly, sharing warmth, not just from the sleeping bag, but something more. Maybe we both fell from the sky for a reason, Lyra said softly. Ryan nodded. Maybe. Just then, the beacon blinked once on its own. Lyra's face turned serious. Someone's nearby. Ryan's hand reached for the blade in his boot. Friend or enemy? We'll find out, she said, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. The blinking beacon didn't stop. Lyra's eyes narrowed as the soft red glow pulsed faster. That wasn't a friendly signal. It was a proximity alert. Ryan stood up carefully, his boots crunching on cold stone. How close are they? Less than 100 meters, Lyra said, already packing up her sleeping bag. It's a patrol, probably scanning the crash site. Ryan looked toward the mouth of the cave. Yours or mine? Does it matter? She asked calmly. No, Ryan admitted, tightening the strap on his knife. If they find us together, it's bad either way. Lyra nodded. Especially if they think we've betrayed our sides. They quickly gathered their gear. Lyra picked up her beacon and tapped it. Its glow dimmed, shifting to silent mode. Ryan moved beside her, quietly impressed at her calm control. She was graceful, fast, and quiet like a shadow. Outside, the snow had stopped falling, but heavy. Mist covered the ice field like a soft white blanket. Visibility was low, but sound carried far. Ryan gestured to the side path near the cave. We go around the cliff and head downhill. There's cover there. Lyra nodded and followed. They moved quickly, boots slipping across icy stone and hard-packed snow. Ryan kept low, scanning the ridges above. Then he heard it, a soft hum, mechanical, steady. A drone. He froze and signaled with his hand. Lyra instantly dropped behind a large snowdrift. A small disc-shaped drone hovered overhead. Its blue light flicked side to side, scanning the area like a watchful eye. Ryan held his breath. Lyra slowly reached into her belt and pulled out a thin, curved shard of metal. She pressed a button. It folded into a miniature crossbow. Silent. Deadly. She aimed upward. Thuck. The drone sparked once, blinked, and fell from the sky into the snow without a sound. Ryan exhaled. Nice shot. Lyra didn't smile. There will be more. They continued moving. The slope led them into a narrow canyon filled with jagged rocks and icy formations. It felt safer hidden, but they were being followed. Ryan turned sharply. I heard something. A shadow moved behind them. Then another. Not drones. Soldiers, armored, heavy steps, at least 3 of them. They've found our trail, Ryan whispered. Lyra's glow dimmed as she crouched beside him. They're tracking. My beacon's last signal. Ryan looked around. If we run now, they'll follow. We'll have to stop them, she said. He raised an eyebrow. All 3? Her voice was steady. I'll distract them, you flank from behind. Ryan hesitated. That's risky. Lyra looked him in the eyes. We don't have time to argue. Then she stepped forward, straight into the open. The soldiers shouted in a strange alien language. One of them raised a weapon. Ryan circled wide along the canyon wall using rocks for cover. He gripped his blade tightly, heart pounding. Lyra drew their attention, graceful, fast, dodging fire, and striking one with a sharp kick that sent his rifle flying. Ryan lunged from behind, tackling the second soldier and plunging his blade into the weak joint under the armor. The third soldier turned, only to catch Lyra's metal crossbow bolt right between his shoulder plates. Silence returned. The fight lasted only moments, but Ryan was breathing hard. He looked at the fallen enemies, stunned. Lyra stood beside him, calm again. "We were lucky." Ryan nodded. "You're not just warm, you're dangerous." She raised an eyebrow. "You just noticed?" They dragged the bodies into a crevice and covered them with snow and rocks. Then they started moving again, faster now. After some time, Ryan asked, "What happens when we run out of places to hide?" Lyra didn't answer immediately. Then she said, "Then we stop hiding." Cold winds returned as they reached higher ground. Ryan's muscles ached from the climb, and his fingers burned from gripping icy rocks. Lyra moved ahead of him, her glowing green skin shimmering softly in the mist. They finally stopped at a small overhang near a frozen lake. The sun, dim and pale on this world, cast long shadows across the ice. Ryan collapsed against the rock, breathing hard. "Remind me never to crash on an ice planet again." Lyra smiled faintly and sat beside him. "You're adapting better than most humans would." He looked at her, tired but curious. "Why do you even know so much about humans?" Her eyes met his. "Because I studied your kind before the war. I was trained to understand human behavior, language, emotions." Ryan raised a brow. "You were a spy?" "No," she replied gently. "I was a cultural observer, before the war began." That surprised him. "So you liked humans once?" Lyra hesitated. "I still do. Some of you, at least." He chuckled. "Glad I made the list." They sat in silence for a while, watching ice crystals dance in the breeze. Then, Ryan spoke again, softer. "I don't get it. Why risk your life for me back in that cave? You didn't even know me." She looked at him, really looked. "Because I saw something in your eyes, something I hadn't seen in a long time." "What?" "Hope," she whispered. The word hung in the cold air like warmth. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Lyra reached into her pack and pulled out a small glowing stone. She placed it between them. It gave off gentle heat. "A thermal core," she explained. "It will keep us warm until sunset." Ryan reached out, brushing her fingers by accident. Her skin felt alive, almost electric. He didn't pull away. Neither did she. "Lyra," he said softly, "do you think we can actually make it off this planet?" She met his eyes. "If we trust each other, yes." Her voice trembled slightly, not from fear, but from something else, something unspoken. "You trust me that much?" he asked. "I shared my warmth," she said. "That means something to my people." Ryan's heart skipped. "What does it mean?" he asked carefully. Lyra looked away, shy for the first time. "It's a bonding gesture." He blinked. "Like romantic bonding?" She nodded slowly. "Usually only done between chosen partners." Ryan's throat dried. "You didn't tell me that before." "You would have refused," she said. With a small smile, he laughed. "You're not wrong." Then he grew quiet. "Do you regret it?" "No," she said firmly. "Do you?" Ryan looked at her glowing face, her strange, beautiful eyes, the courage in her heart. "No," he said. They sat there, not speaking, but closer than ever. The wall between them, species, war, pain, it had begun to melt, and neither of them wanted to rebuild it. The wind had died down. The stars above the frozen valley began to peek through the gray sky. It was a rare calm. Ryan and Lyra sat beside the small thermal core, both silent, both lost in thought. Suddenly, the beacon in Lyra's pouch let out a soft pulse. She grabbed it instantly. "What is it?" Ryan asked. She held it up. "Signal. Received. Someone's nearby. Someone responding." His heart skipped. "A rescue ship?" She shook her head. "Not sure yet, but someone just acknowledged the signal. It came from the eastern ridge." Ryan stood up, hope flickering in his chest. "Then we move now." Lyra hesitated. "It could be my sister, or it could be a trap." Ryan nodded. "Then we go together. Watch each other's backs." Without another word, they packed up. Lyra folded the thermal core into her belt, and Ryan grabbed his knife again, his only weapon left. They moved fast across the icy terrain, guided by the faint blinking light of the beacon. The climb toward the eastern ridge was brutal. Wind slapped their faces. Ice cracked beneath their boots. Finally, they reached a flat ledge overlooking the vast glacier valley. And there, just beyond the edge, stood a small alien shuttle. Its lights blinked in a coded rhythm. Lyra's eyes lit up. "It's one of ours, but not military." "Your sister?" Ryan asked. "I hope so," she whispered, stepping forward. But then, a sharp snap. Laser fire. Ryan grabbed Lyra and pulled her down behind a snowbank. Voices shouted in a foreign tongue. At least 4 figures in armor rushed out from behind the rocks near the shuttle. "They followed the signal," Ryan growled. "They're hunters," Lyra said, eyes wide. "They want me dead. And the beacon." The glowing device in her hand suddenly blinked red. Target locked. Ryan ripped it from her grip and stood up. "What are you doing?" she shouted. He didn't answer. He ran, full speed, away from the ledge, deeper into the snowfield. The armored enemies shouted and followed. Lyra screamed after him, but he was already gone. Ryan ran with all his strength. His only thought, lead them away. Save Lyra. Blaster fire exploded behind him. One bolt zipped past his leg, another hit the ground near his foot, sending up a shower of steam and snow. He kept running. His breath came in gasps. His body ached. But he didn't stop until he reached the cliffside. There, he threw the beacon over the ledge. It shattered far below. The red signal died, and the hunters, confused, stopped. That's when Lyra appeared behind them. Silent. Swift. Her crossbow flashed. One went down instantly. Ryan tackled another from the back, slamming his fist into the helmet until it cracked. Together they fought like shadows in a blizzard, and when the last hunter fell, bleeding into the snow, they were alone again. Ryan fell to his knees. Did we win?" Lyra knelt beside him, placing a hand on his chest. "We survived." Then, above them, the shuttle's door opened. A tall figure stepped out. Green skin, silver hair. Lyra stood slowly, eyes filling with tears. "Sarah." Her sister ran to her, embracing her tightly. Ryan watched, his chest tight. He had done it. He had brought her home. Lyra clung to her sister like a child reunited with family after years of war. Sarah looked nearly identical, taller, slightly older, with glowing tattoos along her arms and a battle-hardened stare. But when she saw Ryan, her expression changed. Cautious. Protective. "You brought a human," Sarah said in a low voice. "He saved my life," Lyra answered. "Twice." Sarah looked him over. "That doesn't make him safe." Ryan stayed calm. "I'm not here to start a war. I only want to get off this planet, nothing more." Lyra stepped between them. "He's not like the others, Sarah. I bonded with him." Her sister's eyes widened. "You what?" Lyra nodded. "He shared my warmth. He didn't even know what it meant, but he accepted it. And he never tried to use me. Not once." Sarah's face softened. "You really care about him?" "I do," Lyra said quietly. Ryan felt the weight of those words hit deep in his chest. Sarah looked at him again, this time longer. Then she turned and nodded toward the shuttle. We don't have much time. Military patrols will pick up the beacon trail soon. We leave now. They moved quickly, climbing aboard the ship. It was small, built for stealth. Inside it was warm, filled with soft green lights and quiet hums of alien tech. Ryan took a seat at the rear, unsure where he truly belonged. Lyra sat beside him. You okay? She asked softly. He nodded. Just wondering what happens now. She reached for his hand. You come with us. He blinked. You're serious? She smiled gently. I shared my sleeping bag. You think I'd just leave you now? Ryan laughed a little, finally feeling the tension leave his body. Sarah approached, from the front. There's a price to this, she said. Coming with us means you leave your world behind, no contact, no return. Ryan looked out the window at the frozen wasteland that nearly killed him. Then he looked at Lyra, the girl who saved him, with warmth, trust, and something deeper. I've got nothing left on Earth, he said. But I've got something here. Sarah studied him, then nodded. The shuttle lifted off. Snow swirled beneath them as the engines powered through the atmosphere. The sky turned from gray to black, and stars stretched across the vast cold of space. Ryan stared out the window, watching the planet shrink behind them. Lyra leaned against him, her head resting on his shoulder. He didn't know what their future looked like. There were still dangers ahead, still war, still a galaxy divided. But somehow, in the middle of it all, a sleeping bag, a shared moment, and a choice had changed everything. He reached for her hand and whispered, I never thought I'd fall for an alien. She smiled. And I never thought I'd save a human. They both laughed softly as the stars welcomed them home. Together,